How's it going, everybody? As promised, here is a video about Afeera's feats. If you need an overview of a normal moveset, please check out my frame check video. I go into great detail breaking down every aspect of a kit. In this video here, we will just look at the feats and their potential use. There are a few surprises, some positive, some negative, but you'll see. They offer way more than I initially thought, especially the unique tier 1 and tier 3. But first of all, what are her 3 choices per tier? This is usually one of the most asked questions. The alternate tier 1 are body count and tireless. For tier 2, it's executioner's respite and thrilling comeback. Yeah, I know. Tier 3 has tough as nails and heal on block. And then finally for the tier 4, she has stalwart banner and regenerate. I will give you my personal choice of feats at the end of the video, but considering what I've just shown you, you guys can probably guess what they'll be. But first, let's have a detailed look at her uniques. Tier 1 is called Gravity's Pull. It is a grab that throws the opponent behind you, and it does 20 damage at the end of the move. This is a 500 ms neutral bash. Sadly, it has no hidden indicator as our normal bashes do. It just has the fading in indicator, which sadly could make this reactable to the very top, which is something I dislike. But this is very much up for debate after I've shown you the rest of what this feat can do. The move itself, I want takes 700 ms to finish. This is when the damage occurs. Then you have a further 1366 ms of recovery to block on the target. It does not guarantee any follow-up moves, despite that number sounding quite high. The range is quite short and I expect people to misjudge it quite frequently early on. Recovery-wise, we are looking at 900 ms for guard break, 500 ms for a guard swap, and 900 ms again for dodging. You cannot recovery cancel with the flip. What this means is that the move is very vulnerable to being guard broken after you dodged it, but not so much against dodge attacks. Dodge bashes will land as well. Then one big question I've seen everywhere is, can it ledge? The answer is yes. The tier 1 throws behind yourself, so you need to have your back to a ledge for it to work. And just like every feat, you can use it out of stamina. This will surprise many an opponent. During the move, your stamina regen is halted. So you cannot tier 1 somebody and end up with full stamina. You still have to wait out the full regen period. Well, sounds pretty good so far, doesn't it? Considering it's on a 60-second cooldown, this move will be up almost every fight. Now, since this is the first neutral 500 ms bash, so to speak, we need to look at a few punishes that are now potentially unsafe. I'll just show you a couple, but you can test yourself on Thursday. The most obvious is probably Raiders out of stamina throw, adds top heavy into zone. Then tier 1 on wake up grabs the Raider every time and he cannot do anything about this. Another 2 examples are with Lawbringer. Well, it's long arm obviously since it's already susceptible to a light interrupt. And then the throw punish with 2 top heavies and a light, well, that one is unsafe as well. Shouldn't exist, but unsafe is better than nothing, I guess. Well, like I said, you go do some testing, the info can help you there as well. But I don't want to bore you with too many examples right now. But the actual big question of this feat is the following. Does it reset hit stun? And yes, it does. The tier 1 is a prime ganking tool as it allows you to snatch somebody out of pretty much every hit stun, and with a little bit of coordination it can confirm another 2 heavies at the minimum. There's a very basic gank here that is easy to perform, and I expect even fancier ones to appear soon after release. It's not so much about the strength of the gank, it's more about its versatility. You're not bound to have a specific setup, as you can do it from almost everything. You just need to be careful with the timing from pinning moves, as well as when it's after a counter guard break. There you need to hit the exit animation. there's also one big caveat to the move, and that's the revenge. We are looking at 2 ticks, meaning the grab itself feeds, and then the damage portion does too. Since we don't see revenge numbers, I assume it's 30 from the bash and another 20 for the damage. So this is not insignificant. Alright, tier 2, Fortune's Favour. That one is not so insane. After every landed bash, Afeera gets a defense boost for 5 seconds. After that, the feat goes on cooldown for 1 second. It's a very short cooldown. The damage reduction is 20%. In case people forgot how to measure this accurately, it's with drop attacks. So considering you have 4 bashes to use and proc this with, I'd say the feat is quite decent, and looking at the alternatives, well, I don't think I need to say more. Moving on to the tier 3, Speeding Comet. It's a mix between her neutral bash and the tier 1 feat. The numbers look very similar. The run-up obviously has a variable timing depending on distance. The move itself, I think the clip shows 466, but I'm leaning more towards 500 ms. It's sometimes hard to tell when the run stops and when the bash starts. The throw takes 1566 and guarantees a follow-up heavy. We're talking finishes here, but the left one will not displace. When whiffed, we are looking at the following recoveries: 900 ms for guard break, 700 ms for guard swap, and 900 ms again for dodges. This makes the move susceptible to both dodge guard break as well as all dodge attacks. All the things I've shown you for the tier 1 hold true for the tier 3 as well, so out of stamina use, legend, and so on. You just need to remember the direction you throw in. The tier 1 throws behind you, whereas the tier 3, that one throws forward. There is one additional aspect to the tier 3 though, and that is the full block. Throughout the whole run-in portion, as well as the bash, you have superior block. Here this clip was requested in the reveal video in the comment. Nusha can trap you out of it. Good luck timing this though. Especially since Afeera can cancel out of the run via normal feints as well as the flip. But back to the full block. It is an instant starter. The moment you activate the feat and are close enough for the bash, you will gain full block immediately. You can reaction tier 3 on flash basically. Not only that, even if you do not have the reaction to do this, you can do it on a read. This does negate a lot of chain offense, or severely limits the options. Since it confirms 30 plus 18 damage, you can outtrade quite a few of the out of stamina punches and exert a ton of pressure on somebody that wants to start or continue their chain offense against you. I'd almost say this feat, simply off cooldown, is already a great deterrent, and people should think twice about attacking, and especially with what. And even if it is on cooldown, it's only for 90 seconds. Alright, last feat, tier 4, Orbiting Shield. That one is very disappointing. It's 30 damage and a 20% defense debuff. That one lasts for 10 seconds. The feat seems to be a copy of Pirate's tier 3. It bounces to new targets, but the range feels quite limited. Maybe just our imagination, as I assume it's identical to Pirate's, but not sure, as so often with distance. Can also hit teammates and bounce back to you. It does also apply the debuff to teammates, so this can very literally backfire on you. Unlike Pirate's feat, the shield throw is not confirmed when used mid-chain. Only a light parry can be used here to confirm this. It's just like the other tier 3 projectiles. So in short, I'm quite underwhelmed by this feat. So then let's wrap it up. What is my suggestion then for an optimal feat loadout? That is tier 1 Gravity's Pull, tier 2 Fortune's Favour, tier 3 Speeding Comet, and as tier 4 I'd say it's Stalwart Banner. I don't think I need to really explain this decision too much after you've seen what her uniques can do, and considering the selection of passives in those slots, it is like actively deciding to pick trash. And that about covers it. Very strong feats if used correctly, and I assume we might see some nerfs to them in the near future. and smarter people than me will probably come up with more unique ways to use them. I'm looking forward to it. Having said that, I hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.